It's been 7 days since horrific tornadoes tore through Northwest Indiana. Yesterday, I spoke with some seniors who were across state line from Hammond, Indiana, and East Chicago, attending a family reunion. They said when the tornado struck, it blew tables, chairs, bounce houses, food, everything away. They said it rained for a solid hour. They said that if it was so heavy, the rain was so intense, that it felt like they were in the ocean getting hit by waves. They said that all the adults got gathered in a circle under a pavilion, put the children in the center, formed a human chain, and they were just praying, hoping that it would pass. They said after an hour, the rain stopped, it cooled everything down, but it flooded everything. Basements were flooded. Homes were completely gutted by water. Now, that was in East Chicago. Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, he toured the devastated areas yesterday, and he applied for federal assistance and was denied by Washington because they have raised the bar as to what can be considered a devastation. Now in Indiana, Governor Braun, picture inset, he toured the devastated areas, and he and officials from his office went to the Anglo communities. Yesterday afternoon, about 6 p.m., he released a statement stating that Hoosiers that are affected by the tornadoes are eligible to receive a $5,000 grant that can be spent on food and clothing and shelter. And representatives from his office have gone to those affected communities to file the paperwork and give that cash assistance to families. But no one from the governor's office have gone to the most heavily hit city of all, Gary, Indiana, once heart of the steel country, the heart and soul of steel country America. This is a foundational Black American community, 99.9% Black. It's poverty stricken. There are single mothers, children without food right now. There's no food, no running water, no electricity, no gas. There's no lights at all. It's pitch dark at night. This is apocalyptic type situations that are happening right here in America as we speak. And my question is, do Republican Anglo-Americans despise and hate foundational Black Americans that much that they will not provide the same assistance that they are providing to the white affected communities? This is a travesty, and this cannot be happening in America, but it is.
All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekakwadash. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. All right, this lesson is entitled Never Trust Thine Enemy. All right, so not sure if any of you have heard about Gary, Indiana. They got hit by flooding and tornado, just as he spoke of. But as usual, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is pretty much oppressing the so-called Negro. All right, and it's been forever, and it's gonna always continue to happen. All right, we are in Jacob's trouble right now. All right, a time like no other, and it's gonna continue to be this way, even worse to come. Okay, this is gonna happen in Babylon the Great, all over Babylon the Great. All right, famine, pestilence, and the sword of war is coming to Babylon the Great. All right, they've done this in the past, and they're never gonna change. All right, let me show you another video.
This is a list of 5 Black towns that were destroyed to create structures of white progress. Oscarville, Georgia, was burned down in 1912 after a white woman was found unalive. The assumption was that a Black man violated her. Later in the 1950s, the Beaufort Dam was built, flooding the remains of the town to create Lake Lanier. Benson, Alabama, flourished with businesses, schools, and churches until 1926, when the construction of the Martin Dam submerged the town to create Lake Martin. Seneca Village, New York, boasted homes, churches, and a school until the 1850s, when the city seized the land through eminent domain to create Central Park. Susanna, Alabama, another casualty of white progress, met its end in the 1960s with the construction of the Martin Dam, displacing its residents and erasing their vibrant community from the map. Vanport, Oregon, represented hope, an opportunity until a catastrophic flood in 1948 wiped it away. This is a list of 5 black towns that were destroyed.
So yeah, 5 black towns destroyed. All right. Lake Lanier holds a community, a black community. Okay. They flooded it out. Okay. So what's happening in Gary, Indiana is not surprising. All right. It's not surprising at all. All right. We are to never trust thine enemy. Ecclesiastes 12:10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he has overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou, at the last, remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So one that goeth to a sinner, and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. And this is the MO of the so-called white man, the Edomite. All right, he's always hated you Negroes, Native Americans, and Hispanics. All right, and so that's the reason why they're not helping you in Gary, Indiana. Okay, all right, it's a part of who they are as a people. Okay, find another scripture. Right? So you're going to always be oppressed by them. All right? Jeremiah 50:33. And it says, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. All right? So we always have been oppressed by them. All right? Okay? Psalms here. Psalms 83:2. Okay? We'll start at 1. All right, to let you know who your enemies are. It says, Keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. That's Psalms 83:1. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacle of Edom. Okay, that's the number one enemy of the Israelites. Okay, of the Most High in Israel. All right, the tabernacles of Edom, and that's who took you into captivity. All right. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites and the Moabites and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. All right, Edom being the so-called white man, Ishmaelites the Arabs, Moab being the Chinese, Hagarenes being the Egyptians, Gabal, all right, the African, some Africans, Ammon. All right, that's Japanese, Amalek. That is the Edomite chief or over there in chiefs over there in Israel, the Israelis. Okay, the Philistines. All right, more Africans with the inhabitants of Tyre. All those are Africans. They have plotted against. They have all of these nations have a confederate. Are confederate against the Israelites. All right, you Negroes, Native Americans, and Hispanics to never, ever come back into power again and rule. All right, as when King David, was living. Okay, King Solomon. All right. So that's the reason why Yahweh Shai is returning to set things back in order and put Esau under our feet. Okay. All right. So let me read this here so you can understand the depth. All right. All right. They put you in captivity. All right. And they rule over you. That's in Amos chapter 1 and we'll read verse 9. Due to the Africans, all right, giving them over into their hands, all right, and selling them. West Coast of Africa, okay. So the tribe of Judah, okay. Amos 1 and 9, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom. That's the so-called white man. All right. And remember not the brotherly covenant. That's what happened to the so-called African American. All right. Verse 11, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually. And that's the reason why they're not helping the people in Gary, Indiana. Okay. And he kept his wrath forever. All right. Because they hate you. All right. Okay. So the scriptures tell us to never trust our enemy. All right. I just listed the enemies. That's who it is. All right. But this truth is only for those, for the hopeful elect and the believers. Only they gonna get this truth. All right. So with that, I say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash, Shalom.